Welcome back to my channel. You already know it's your boy Hood Digital, the Rock Reactor, back with another video. Yes, sir. Before I proceed, let me know where you tapping in from. Let me know what country, what city, what mountain, what hill, what cave, what island, what planet, what universe. Let me know where you at. Represent your hood. Yes, sir. Breaking news. Trump fires Secretary of Homeland Security, Secretary Kristi. Noem. Wow. Crazy. I mean, anybody could have seen this coming, guys, because she was reckless. She was definitely reckless. I remember that she reported that they deported a migrant who attempted to eat himself on a flight. And then they said that was entirely fabricated. Like everything she would hear, she would just run with it. And then she was getting chewed at the Judiciary Committee, the Congressionals. She was just getting chewed up. So I guess Trump said, well, she's going to have to take one for the team and fire her, guys. Let's take a look a little closer to this. I mean, anybody could have seen this coming. Let's take a look at this, guys. And before we do, by the way, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to my channel. Hit the notification bell. Hit the like button. Any donations to my channel will be greatly appreciated. My PayPal account is on the screen. Let's go.
Breaking news into CNN. Kristi Noem is out as the Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security. We have a team of reporters on this. Let's start with Kristen Holmes at the White House. Kristen, it was, like 10 minutes ago that you were reporting that her job was in jeopardy, and now it's official.
Yep, President Trump has announced that he has fired the Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem. This is the first cabinet position that he has fired during his second term. Of course, the only other high-profile ouster we've had like this was when Mike Waltz served as the head of the National Security Council. He was the National Security Advisor. So President Trump just posted this on Truth Social. He said, "I am pleased to announce that the highly respected United States Senator from the great state of Oklahoma, Mark Wayne Mullen, will become the United States Secretary of Homeland Security effective March 31st, 2026. And Boris, just so you know, this is one of the names that we had heard he was floating in these conversations he was having with lawmakers on Capitol Hill. The current Secretary, Kristi Noem, who has served us well and has had numerous and spectacular results, especially on the border, will be moving to be Special Envoy for the Shield of the Americas, our new security initiative in the Western Hemisphere."
Do you notice that he can't say bad shit about her? He can't say why he really fired her. He can't really say that because it'll make him look bad. It'll make the whole team look bad.
Atmosphere we are announcing on Saturday in Doral, Florida. I thank Kristi for her service at Homeland. Again, this is a huge deal, Boris. This is the first time he is firing a cabinet member. He has been incredibly reluctant this term to fire, to shuffle any of his staff, any of his officials, because of the perception of his first term when he was in office, that it was a revolving door. However, as we reported, we were told that the catalyst for this was essentially this appearance that she made, this hearing in front of the Senate Judiciary Committee, in which she claimed President Trump had signed off on a $200 million ad campaign that featured her asking illegal immigrants to self-deport. President Trump has now said publicly he didn't do that. And of course, all of this is amid the fallout that we saw from Minnesota, from Minneapolis. And there had been pushback on the Hill and from many.
She was too reckless, guys. She was just all over the place. And that was bullying her, man. That was just bullying her.
President Trump's allies that Kristi Noem was not the right person for the job, but many of them had been careful to walk a very thin line, not getting too far out there. But clearly, we are told now that this hearing put Trump over the edge in terms of his anger factor. Now he has fired Noem, replacing her, with this Oklahoma senator.
All right, Kristen, this is huge news as we are getting this, that Trump is replacing Kristi Noem as DHS secretary and moving her to a special envoy position, which is certainly a demotion and something that is meant to give her a little cover as she is getting ousted here. Kristen, thank you so much. If you could stand by for us there at the White House. Let's go to Priscilla Alvarez, who has been tracking this for us. What are you learning?
Well, I have been hearing from Homeland Security officials who are stunned. Of course, they had been talking amongst themselves over the last several weeks and months, anticipating that the secretary may be out soon, given a series of missteps that they perceived she had done over the last several weeks. And one of those in particular, or many of those in particular, are stemmed in what happened in Minneapolis. Recall, of course, that surge of federal agents for that immigration enforcement operation where 2 U.S. citizens were fatally shot by federal agents. And it was the secretary who came out in that immediate aftermath, calling them domestic terrorists, something that she was grilled on during the congressional hearings this week, but that also shocked Homeland Security officials that she would so quickly draw conclusions over such incidents. And recall, too, that President Trump.
Yeah, I remember with Karen Good, she started right away. She came out and said she was a domestic terrorist, man. That was too rough.
Trump, in the aftermath of those shootings, had dispatched White House border czar Tom Homan to try to resolve the issues on the ground. It was the most high-profile rebuke over the course of the last year of the secretary and the way that she was managing the department and the immigration enforcement mission. Now, of course, the White House said at the time that she was in lockstep with Tom Homan, but it was also clear internally that there had been long simmering tensions there. So all of this to say that it had been building over some time now, what was happening in the department, the management of the department between her and her chief advisor, Corey Lewandowski, who was serving as a special government employee. There had been multiple concerns from within the department about the way that she was handling things, even most recently when she said that she was suspending TSA PreCheck, and then the department had to reverse that within hours. So this has been just a shock for a lot of Homeland Security officials who, even though they thought the writing was on the wall with her leaving at some point.
Yeah, come on, man. There should be no shock to anybody that this is going to happen. I guess Trump was holding off a little bit, but at the end of the day, they was just chewing her up. Like I said, she was being reckless, and then the lions were eating her up.
The fact that it has happened now in the wake of these hearings just has them all scrambling.
Priscilla Alvarez, please stand by. Let's go to Manu Raju, who's live on Capitol Hill. Manu, I promised that at some point I would ask you about the situation with Kristi Noem and these hearings. Clearly, they were disastrous.
Yeah, and no question about it. And there had been a lack of support for Kristi Noem throughout, and a growing number of Republicans expressing frustration, concern, and actually, frankly, not even saying if they would support her continuing in the job. And no doubt that echoed at the White House, and the President Trump clearly had some of those similar concerns as well. But I want you to listen to what some of the Republicans told me just in the last day about whether they would continue supporting Kristi Noem staying in that job.
Do you have confidence in Secretary Noem?
Time will tell.
Would you vote for her again if you had a chance?
Time will tell.
Do you have confidence in her?
I'm not going to answer that. That's not my decision.
Time will tell. Time will tell. See, they're not gonna give you a straight answer because it would make them look bad. At the end of the day, she's part of her team.
But you voted to confirm her.
That's not my.
She's part of their team, so obviously they're not going to throw her under the rug like that because, of course, throw her under the bus like that because, of course, it's going to make them look bad.
My decision. If the president, that's up to the president. I want to be a team player, and I want to secure the border, and I want to enforce our immigration laws. But I'm tired of trying to explain behavior that is inexplicable to me.
Well, if you had a chance to vote for her again, would you?
I'm not going to answer that, Manu. You can try 1,000 times, mate. Lots of luck to you.
You see, he doesn't want to get caught out there, man. That old man ain't stupid, man. He ain't stupid.
Markway Mullen almost certainly would get the support of a majority of United States senators to be confirmed as the next Secretary of Homeland Security. The Senate tends to look favorably upon its own. He has served in this body for 3 years. He's a former House member for about 10 years. He's a former mixed martial arts fighter as well. And he's also been a staunch defender of President Trump.
Hey, he's a former mixed martial arts fighter. Wow. But guys, I want to go back to what the guy said. It's crazy. He said, I'm not going to answer that. But he said something very important. Inexplicable behavior. That's the key word for all the shit that she was doing.
Agenda. It is unclear exactly when it was informed to Mullen that he would be Donald Trump's pick, because he did speak to reporters at about 12:30 this afternoon. He was asked about these rumors about Trump floating his name as replacement. At that point, he said he had not spoken to Trump all week. And then he went, who's holed up in the number 2 Senate Republican's office, John Barrasso. He was not seen for some time. He left the Capitol without commenting, perhaps taking a call from the president at that point. So a surprise to many here, and maybe even to Senator Mullen. Guys.
That's some fascinating color as Mullen leaves Capitol Hill, potentially taking a call from the president, refusing to comment about Trump considering him for DHS secretary, and just moments ago, Trump confirming that the new DHS secretary is Senator Markwayne Mullin of Oklahoma.
In our national lead, Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem is back on Capitol Hill today, facing bipartisan criticism for her job performance. Yesterday from senators, today from House lawmakers, both often focusing on the aggressive, many would say overly aggressive, immigration crackdown in Minnesota and elsewhere. One Republican senator giving her a particularly harsh assessment.
Madam Secretary, you are back. What we've seen is a disaster. Under your leadership, Ms. Noem, we're beginning to get the American people to think that deporting people is wrong. It's the exact opposite. The way you're going about deporting them is wrong.
I've always said that, guys. That's exactly what happened in Minneapolis, man. What they did in Minneapolis is going to go down in history and going to leave a terrible mark on the whole Trump administration. And they dragging her under the bus. See, they still drilling her.
I read your book last week. And honestly, some of the parts of it impressed me, but some of it distresses me. And I'll give you a good example of one that does. The passage where you talk about killing a dog that was 14 months old. You decided to kill that dog because you had not invested the appropriate time in training, and then you have the audacity to go into a book and say it's a leadership lesson about tough choices.
And North Carolina Senator Tom Tillis joins me now live in studio. Senator, let me ask you, why bring up the story of her killing Cricket? I mean, I thought it was a bizarre story too, but you think it's actually relevant?
I think it's relevant because if you read and I would recommend people do it. I bought the book, I got the audio book, I read it for the committee prep, but she tries to suggest that a 14-month-old dog that's only halfway through what most people who train dogs, particularly for hunting purposes, is necessary to have that dog be reliable. So she gets angry at a dog that she puts into service long before it should, and then goes and kills it in the backyard. And before that dog is dead, she made a bad decision there. She fielded it too soon without training. Then she goes back to the farm, grabs a family goat, and shoots it because it made her mad. That is not. That's a thought process. So look, the fact.
She should have never included that shit in her book, man. That's crazy, man. You need to read. She's not even thinking straight. You need to realize who you are. You a politician. You are supposed to be a leader. How are you going to include that shit there? You should. Oh man.
That she acted precipitously on limited information, not really understanding that she had put something into a situation it was not ready for. Felt a lot like some of the decision making that was done in Minneapolis.
Like calling Renee Good and Alex Preddy domestic terrorists.
Immediately jump into that. So she was rationalizing killing a dog behavior because it didn't perform properly, but she was wrong. She could have had that dog perform properly. Her then rationalizing that these were terrorists was the expedient. It was the easy way out. I want leaders behind President Trump that do the hard work so that they're preserving the Republican majorities in Congress and the president's legacy. She's far from that.
Well, one of the interesting things about the Preddy and Good situations is that
that's a Republican guy chewing her the fuck up. I mean, she had to go, man. Yo, I think Trump should have fired her a long time ago. The moment that she called Renee Good and Preddy domestic terrorists and stuff like that. I remember she called Renee Good right before the Preddy situation. She called her a domestic terrorist. right there, Trump should have acted. He should have acted right there.
She immediately came out and said things that were false, that we saw on video were not true. And
no credible. And look, the reason why I asked her who Tom Homan reports to, because I knew the answer, and she said he reports to the president.
Right.
If there is no better example of a vote of no confidence as somebody who was in front when the Preddy incident occurred, and now she, who is the head of Homeland Security, is replaced by somebody for a Homeland Security mission who doesn't actually even work for the Secretary of Homeland Security. That's a vote of no confidence, in my opinion, by the president.
So your Republican colleague, Senator Kennedy, was also critical. He was here earlier, and he was specifically critical about a multi-million-dollar ad campaign that DHS ran. And the secretary told him it had been a competitive bid process for the contractors who produced it, and the president had approved of the ad campaign. Democratic Senator Joe Neguse questioned her about the contractor that made these ads, Safe America Media, today. Take a listen.
Where's Safe America Media headquartered?
I don't know.
I don't know either, Madam Secretary. We can't find it. We can't find a website. The company is registered to a political operative in Virginia. Do you know, just by way of example, whether this company that received $143 million in taxpayer dollars, has it ever done work for the government before?
I don't know. I can't.
The answer is it has not. And do you know why we know that? Because it was incorporated 8 days before this contract went out. You want the American people to believe that this is all above board?
And we should know one of the other reasons why people are so suspicious.
She's getting grilled, guys. Like, they need to deport her somewhere. They need to send her with Putin in Russia somewhere. They need to tell her, listen, man, they need to forget about her. They need to do something about her, because, woo.
Of this is one of the subcontractors affiliated with that contract is a company run by the husband of her former spokeswoman, Tricia McLaughlin. What do you make of all this?
Well, look, I mean, let's also, I was sitting right next to John when he was asking the questions, and I don't think people picked up on how proud she was of making any decision over $100,000 in FEMA across her desk and any decision for Homeland Security over $15 million across her desk. How can you go from saying that you scrutinize everything in excess of 15 millions, and in the same 10-minute period say, I didn't know any of the details of a $200 million purchase? And this is somebody that is out of her depth and apparently only situationally interested in transactions over 15 million, except when it involves her family members or friends.
So one of the other things you asked for before you ran out of time yesterday, Charlotte's Web. That's the immigration enforcement operation in Charlotte, North Carolina, run by DHS. You have been waiting for more than a month for basic answers from her about this. You're a United States senator. Did she ever give you answers?
No, even worse than that. An hour. One of the reasons why I was angry is that an hour before, after waiting a month, I was told I wasn't going to get the data. I asked for anonymized data that recorded the incidents, the outcome, whether a person was illegally present or not, were they detained.
Just the oversight responsibility of the legislative branch,
She says that she's got a world-class law enforcement organization. I could go to a small town in North Carolina and they could produce incident reports immediately for me. So she either doesn't have it or she doesn't like what it's going to say. And my suspicion is that she had a very low success rate. In that hearing, she made it a point to reserve the first few rows with victims of people, family members and survivors, angel families, for people who were harmed by these people that I want deported. She was trying to say that but for her, that wouldn't happen. I think because of her, not enough of them are being apprehended because her and Stephen Miller are more worried about hitting artificial numbers that sound big. But when you dig below the surface, like I want to do with Charlotte's Web, I want to understand what their success rate was. And if they're successful, they should be moving heaven and earth to give me that information. The fact that they're stonewalling makes me really concerned with what I'm going to find. And if I don't get the information by March 19th, then I'm going to hold up more processes than I already am for Homeland.
Guys, I don't know, man, but they need to ship her off somewhere. They need to put her under something. They need to ship her to Beirut, like they're saying here. They need to send her somewhere. because I don't know, man. Do I smell criminal charges against her for corruption? I don't think we've seen the last of her. And Trump just demoted her. It shouldn't have been a demotion. I think it should have been, listen, man, just go home, hide in your basement, and let's act like you never existed, for that matter. Let me know what you guys think, guys. And of course, subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell, hit the like button. Any donations to my channel will be greatly appreciated. My PayPal account is on the screen. Thank you very much for watching. Peace, love, and God bless.